Yo guys, what's up? My name is Lafiaji Prime, the ITK, here again with another... Oh, I forgot this was still in my hair. Let's try that again. Yo guys, what's up? My name is Lafiaji Prime, the ITK, here again with another video. Now today we are talking about Vector the Viper, Vector or VEC's latest album, Lafiaji. Now if you're not familiar with the term Lafiaji, I think it refers to Lagos Island, which is where Vector was born and brought up in. So from that you can tell that this album is going to focus heavily on Lagos Island. Now we've seen this trend the past year with various artists coming out with albums that are sort of dedicated to their homes. We've had Ice Prince earlier this year with Just to the World, and we've had Bez with Baggy Child, and now of course Vector with Lafiaji. I'd say this album serves a couple of different kinds of people. If you're someone who grew up in Lagos Island or someone who, currently lives in Lagos, I think you'd have a much richer experience and you'd feel this album a lot more than, say, someone who is completely unfamiliar with, Lagos. But then again, if you are someone who isn't familiar with Lagos, maybe some of the stories and experiences will be interesting and, inspiring to you listening to this album. Now, this album is about 25 tracks long, and I'm sure if you've watched me for a while now, you know how I feel about longer albums. Basically, if an album goes on too long, my feeling is that it's not going to have a very cohesive theme. There's going to be a lot of filler. And honestly, it feels like you're just trying to throw on, tracks on there. And that's kind of my feeling with this album. So personally, this album starts off well. The intro track, very, it has this kind of smoldering feel, very sentimental, very touching, Vector comes in very soft on this track. The production on here is very smooth. Speaking of production, Vector does handle some of the production. The second track I had a problem with, felt like all over the place, very chaotic. Like he was trying to do this electro pop thing, and then you'd have this kind of interlude that's kind of like smooth, and it's like we go jaey'o. I didn't really feel that. But the next couple of tracks from Lafiaji, Adura, and Fish jaey'o, those were great tracks. Lafiaji, particularly like the title track, it feels more like a jingle or like a commercial track for Lagos rather than, a kind of a song for an artist. But I would like to see this track actually used for a commercial for Lagos City. I think it is befitting. But after that, the first half of this album, it all falls apart. Vector is all over the place, doing different kinds of weird songs, like there's a song called Condom, which is very sexually explicit. Now, I don't mind your song being very sexually explicit, but it just felt bad. The tracks were just bad. Everything just felt like he ran out of steam, which I didn't think was necessary. You could have had a 10, 12, 15 maybe track album, but going 25 tracks and just loading some shit tracks on it really took away from the quality of this album, in my opinion. There's feature on here with Jesse Jacks titled Spiritual. Basically on this track, they're talking about drinking and smoking as this leads off an interlude titled Blaze and Booze. Very laid back track. I didn't have much of a problem with this track. It's a decent track. I think Vector and Jesse Jacks do have great chemistry on this particular track. Overall, I will say if you are from Lagos, you're from Lagos Island, you will enjoy this album. You'll enjoy a number of tracks on this album. You will be very familiar with it. I love the storytelling element of this. Vector did tell, a few stories about how he came up, the struggle. He also has a few words for people who claim to be holier than thou. I don't know if that's something that Vector faces personally with friends or maybe on the internet, but it seemed like he was also taking jabs at people who might feel they're holier than thou. Besides that, the first listen, I didn't really like this album. Second listen, third listen, I started to get, some of the stories, the direction where Vector was going and what he was thinking. The latter half just fell apart for me, and it just felt like it was just like, you have a canvas and you're just throwing colors on to see what really, works and what's gonna make it look beautiful. So I would have loved if Vector had done some quality control to keep it at a shorter length, but it is what it is. For me, I'll give this a 5/10. I think that's fairly balanced in that I liked half of it and I didn't like the other half. 5/10, I would prefer if Vector, you know, had trimmed this album's length. And also, I would have loved a bit more of those witty bars that I, you know, kind of grew up knowing Vector for. I think he's a very talented lyricist, and he kind of, I understand the need to simplify your lyrics in terms of, you know, so that people understand your message, but at times, you know, just go ham, just show people that you really are that guy. But those are just my thoughts. I'd love to know what you think about this album. What's your rating? What tracks did you enjoy? Personally, like I said, I enjoyed Spiritual, I enjoyed Lafiaji. Adura is also a dope track, and also the intro was a very nice track for me. My name is Jaey'o Prime. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to leave a like. If you're new around here, why not click subscribe? I'll see you in the next video. Have a blessed day and goodbye.